Hey everybody, and it's Cat Gaming here, and we are nearing the end of A Garden to Die For. Sorry, so got a slight cough from weeks ago, but yeah, we're getting near the ending, and I was just curious on what you guys think. So here we go.
Carol, have you been able to find those invoices?
I haven't even had a chance to look. You're welcome to see if you can find them, though.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and find invoices after we find all the letters. And of course, we're missing the Y. Guess we can kind of start looking for there it is. Okay. So smash the birdhouse. No, I guess that's. I wasn't sure they were considering the cuckoo clock a birdhouse, because that bird is in there. According to this invoice, Avery paid for a special shipment of tropical plants. What I don't see is mulch. This confirms that Avery lied about what he bought here the morning that Matthew was murdered. He told you he bought mulch? He definitely lied about that. I distinctly remember I was out of mulch the day of the competition. Do you happen to remember if the order Avery picked up included any castor oil plants? Now that you mention it, it did. He had taken an interest in them lately, and he had received several different varieties over the last few months. Interesting. So, Avery had got castor oil bean stuff, and if you guys remember, that is what killed Matthew, was raisin, which comes from the bean. So yeah, but there's still a few others. I mean, we still get the Emily, the next door neighbor, who spied on everybody. The town nut job that likes to keep tabs on everybody. Who's doing what and when and where. Type. Looks like the leather gloves Avery found were purchased by Thomas Pickering. Oh yes, I've forgotten all about that. Being short-handed during the peak of gardening season has turned me into such a scatterbrain. So it was so Thomas had bought the gloves, but Avery bought the raisin. So what do you guys think? Keep on trying to find the gnome. There he is. Tin can. Padlock and flies. A fly. I can find a fly, but I can't find a tin can. Sheesh. That? Okay. Now for a padlock. There we go.
Everything is starting to make sense, and I think I know who killed Matthew O'Neill. But there's one last thing I need to check out first.
Let's see if you guys come up
I just need to find the proof that my theory is correct. I'll just lend Avery a hand by taking down these leftover decorations for him. and take a little look around the place while I'm at it.
Okay. Come up with your answers and see if you can come to the same conclusion as Jessica. Why? Because I'm looking for it. Well, I'll keep an eye open for the white bone. Okay. Let's just start looking for the cranes. And hopefully I can come by see why. And it's found it. Okay, good. Oh, I think that's kitty cat. Right there. I love kitty cats. I would so love to have one again. I used to own a long-haired black cat. She lived to be 16 before she passed away. She had a good long life. The last 10 years, she would always be either in my lap or in my arms. She would have her front paws and her head laying right over my left shoulder, and the rest of her body would be draped across my chest, just laying there. I would be holding with one arm, and if I needed both hands, I would lean slightly back and use both of the hands, and she would not even flinch. And I'm still looking for that last crane. If I don't find it here in a few moments, which I usually do when I say that, if I don't find it, I'll click the hint button, and there it is. Interesting. There's something peculiar on the wall next to the crane I found. Okay, rearrange those. Hold on. Ew. I don't have enough green, so I don't know. How did he? No. Ho, ho, hum. Not sure about this puzzle. Let's see. No. Let's see. I'll get the hints. Okay. There you go. So we get that puzzle solved. Oh, what's this?
Castor oil plants? I thought so.
Jessica, what are you doing here?
Confirming a theory, Avery, that the ricin that killed Matthew O'Neill was made from castor beans grown in your garden. You imported these plants from Florida specifically for that purpose.
That's preposterous. I have no idea how to make ricin from castor beans. Besides, you seem to have forgotten that I have an ironclad alibi courtesy of the Maine Coast Garden Center.
I know that. That's why you needed an accomplice, Thomas Pickering. Between his background as a former chemist and your access to the raw materials for ricin, you made a perfect team. And while you were busy establishing your alibi at the garden center, Thomas was delivering a ricin-tainted rose to Matthew O'Neill.
You're correct that Thomas and I were a team, but the only thing we're guilty of is rigging the garden contest. My exotic plants need a staggering amount of fertilizers, pesticides, and other chemical help to thrive in a New England climate, so we struck up a little arrangement.
Yes. Thomas made sure you won the competition every year, ensuring you received a generous supply of Humboldt Chemical garden products. And in return, you gave him the cash part of the prize.
It was worth giving Thomas the $5,000 every year to maintain the scheme. Much richer prizes awaited me if my garden advanced to the New England regional competition and won there. But the arrangement never included murder.
Not true. I think Matthew became suspicious when you began winning the competition year after year. Suspicious enough to threaten to start an inquiry and have Thomas removed as president of the garden club. If that happened, your winning streak and everything that came with it would be over. That was your motive in silencing Matthew.
And Thomas? What was his motive?
Thomas didn't want to lose his position as president of the club or his $5,000 annual bribe. Perhaps more importantly, he was afraid he would face censure and possibly legal trouble for fixing the competition. What I think happened the morning of the murder is that while you were establishing your alibi at the garden center, Thomas was making his rounds judging gardens. He went to Emily's garden first and took her shears and one of her roses with him when he left. Being careful to wear gloves, he painted the thorns with ricin. It takes only a minuscule amount to kill, and went next door to Matthew's garden. He left the rose for Matthew to pick up, knowing that the thorns would prick his hand and deliver the fatal poison. He also left behind Emily's garden shears to cast suspicion on her. Finally, Thomas went on to judge your garden and left his gloves here so no one else in the competition would see him with them.
That wasn't part of the plan. I didn't know who those gloves belonged to. Thomas thought the whole thing up and threatened to expose me as a fraud if I didn't go along with it.
That's enough, Avery. I figured you would panic and sell me out. That's why I need to silence you. And now that you figured everything out, Jessica, I'm afraid you will have to go too.
Hold it right there, Pickering. Put that gun on the ground, slowly.
Did you hear it all?
Everything. More than enough to put both Thomas and Avery away for a very long time.
I guess this whole matter just proves the old saying, you reap what you sow.
Okay. Sorry about the noise. My roommate came home and started making a bunch of noise. But did you guys figure that out? I mean, Did you know that it was kind of sort of both of them? I mean, Avery did not murder anybody, but he was in on the scheme of trying to win every single year, and was part of that whole thing right there. So let me know what you guys thought of that down below. And we'll go ahead and stop it here. I know it's a short video, but we're going to go ahead and end here, and I will be back in the very next one for Secrets and Ashes. And we will pick up from there. And I hope you guys have a great night. And don't forget to subscribe and like and all that fun stuff. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!